Well, there are games that you should win in the National Hockey League, and there are games that you better win. The Boston Bruins beat the Detroit Red Wings on Thursday night, 5-1 at home at TD Garden. So my question to you, my friend Razor, was this a game that they should have just won or that they had to win, meaning who they were playing against? And I'm not taking away anything from Detroit, except for the fact they are a team, is still a team rebuilding, remodeling, whatever word you want to use. The reality is they're not a great team. So good victory, no doubt, but was it a game they had to win or just should have won?
I'll say they had to win it, maybe for a little bit of a different reason than just Detroit, but also the 4-day rest. We've talked so much about their schedule now, and they haven't played a lot of games. And when you get 4 days off and you have Detroit coming into your building, a team lesser of you, no question, you have to hammer them. And after you've gone through a tough schedule that I've been defending them, losing 2 games, Florida, Carolina, back-to-back games on the road. Those are tough games to win because I think those are 2 really good teams. You have to back that up by hammering Detroit at home. And that proves that those 2 losses were closer than they could have been. Bobrovsky played well. Carolina, 2 goals. We know the whole story. That all comes back to roost when you hammer Detroit the way they did tonight. So in those respects, I think they had to do that. Power play had to get going to prove that they are in the upper side. If they lose this game, then you can start to question everything going on.
Yeah, I think they had to win. I do, because it's not a must, which is different than a must-win game, by the way. But they had to win this game. Not only the fact, are you at home, as you said, coming up those other games, and you win over Florida, et cetera. But Detroit didn't have Dylan Larkin, their best player. And this is a team that's coming off 3 previous losses that I thought at times in the first period they actually played all right. But as soon as the Bruins amped up their intensity, their physical play, they clearly took over. And except for Thomas Greiss stealing that game, literally would have had to have, stood on not just his head, but his ear, so to speak.
Yeah.
They had to. So they did. So that's the good news.
Yep.
The great news is they get gigantic performance from Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. They couldn't have done it without each other. Bergeron's going to get credit for the 4 goals, as he should, shooting the puck in the right spot. All 4 passes from Brad. Brad was rad in this game. So let's start with the positives, because then I do have a negative, and we touched on this in our Ness and Post game a little bit. But the positive was that, well, I guess they made it look easy. I do think it was kind of easy in the sense that Detroit didn't really kill them great, Razor, at times. But Bergeron was ready to shoot with no hesitation and didn't give Greiss any chance on the first, 3 of those goals.
No, they didn't. And to the point as well, 2 things. Cassidy touched on it, that the way the Red Wings kill certainly it gave them a lot of confidence that the bumper was going to work well. And they had 4 days to practice this, and they worked a lot on it. The power play is a huge deal for this team, and it is for every team, but especially this one. That's how this group gets going, and that's especially how a Patrice Bergeron gets going offensively is on the power play and how they move it around. And that was certainly on point tonight, certainly the case tonight. And so it was easy, and National League easy. It really was the way they moved around. We saw that. It was evident, but you still have to pull it off, and you still have to make it happen. And it's similar to your question at the start with, did they have to win this game? Did the power play have to score in this game? Yes, they did have to score in this game, because then you really start questioning, and I think you go down more of a rabbit hole had they not scored. So my question for you is, And after you watch this, and we didn't get into this on the telecast at all, and I thought about it on the way home, was that more of a display from Brad Marchand than Patrice Bergeron? And it was sneaky. We didn't talk it until like the second segment that Marchand had 4 assists.
Yeah.
Did he carry that as much as for Patrice?
In some ways, yes. And I think Patrice would say, here's the beauty of these two guys. Patrice would say, I was just in the right spot and got the puck off quickly. Brad did all the work. Especially not the first. Well, the first one, yeah, there was 2 touch passes. So the first and the third goal were both off of third one-timer touch passes from Brad to Patrice in the right flank, inner part of that circle there, right?
Yeah.
And I think Patrice would say that. I do. I think Patrice would say, you know what, Brad put it in the perfect spot. You know what Brad would say? He'd say, Bergie found that perfect spot for me. All I had to do was touch the puck over to him. And I get what you're saying. And I wouldn't disagree that the second goal, when Brad came from behind the net, and after there was a good play by Hall, and before that, David Pastrnak to kind of punch the puck, rim it around from left to right, it was almost like an area pass to me because he just knew that his buddy Bergie was going to be there. I thought that was great that Bergie got to it, and then just you used the term sweep. He swept it. He sweep shot it, whatever the terminology is.
The sweeper. It's a sweeper.
That's what it
is. Darcy Tucker sweeper.
Yeah, that was exactly what that was there. And I thought a very valid question. And I do think some people would say, Marchand had more to do it than Bergeron. I think when it's all said and done, the shots were sublime, except for the fourth one. You made the good point of how does that go in on Thomas Greiss? He's there. He's literally there, and it goes through him. And I think Bergeron, in his humbleness, would say, I was lucky. I was lucky that one. But the other 3, don't you think, Razor, those other 3 were really placed beautifully?
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, we saw the 2 blocker shots, and the second one especially, where for a goaltender, that's so hard because you're watching behind the net to your left, and Bergeron comes from his right. You expect him to take short side, and then he hooks it and sweeps it back against your body, and you have no chance. And then the third one puts it right between his legs as he's coming across it. Yeah, they're perfect spots, put in perfect positions, and again, huge getting the power play going. Had to have the power play tonight. Had to have them going, and that's gonna just snowball for them. And Charlie McAvoy too. He was in on those 2 plays, making the right decision, going to Marchand on the flank with those 2 bumper plays that we talked about. That's important for him as well because he's trying to find his legs on that first unit and where he needs to go at the right time.
Yeah, no question about it. He was good again. He didn't have to, in my opinion, dominate.
He didn't have to do anything, which was great. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that was like a perfect, quiet game before going into Toronto and a big weekend, back to back. The whole thing. It's
exactly. On the power play, Patrice Bergeron was 5 for 6 in the offensive zone and faceoff circle. Overall for the game, Patrice Bergeron, if memory serves me correct, was 16 for 19 in the faceoff circle. So besides his 4 goals, he had 5 shots. He had a hit, and again, 16 for 19 in the circle. So he dominated. He absolutely, slapped the Detroit Red Wings in the faceoff circle all night and around.
And that's why you have to be good at center ice. That's why Detroit won't win nearly enough games. You need to be so good down the middle, because if you're losing 16 of 19 faceoffs against one guy, it's impossible to win in this league.
And for the game, Bruins win 32, lose 22 for a 59% efficiency rate. Let me ask you something, a little side question here. How different did guys shoot when you were playing goalie than what they do now? Just the release point and the style. Had it changed by then or no? Had guys figured out that the kick point, the release points were more in front than they were middle back load?
No, I was still playing with pull it in and you'll release it at some point
Hmm.
within that pull.
Hmm.
So the grade shooters would be able to drag it a little bit further than everybody else and then send it the other way. So you had Ovi. I mean, I had Ovi and not that old, so I did have
Hmm.
some of the guys, but now it's different with the technology of the sticks, guys sending it. But the way Patrice Patrice has learned to use the stick, but I watched, I sat in there in practice and was the bumper goalie for him and those guys, him and Glenn Murray basically back to back would do their
Hmm.
reps from that spot. And like I said, Darcy Tucker with the sweeper. So there's similarities, but I think the overall it's more of the guys that the third, fourth line guys that can really
Right.
zip it that couldn't do that before because you needed more technique, you needed more skill that a Patrice has had forever and Ovechkin's had forever. But to your point, long winded. I had to learn at the NHL level that guys could shoot it while they pulled it in at any point rather
Hmm.
than out in front of them while they were skating.
Yeah, yeah. Now everything is in front. It is amazing,
Hmm.
and I think we talked about this last season a little too. I think it would be a fascinating conversation with a guy who's called Doctor Shot. Glenn Tucker's his name. He teaches shooting. There's other great guys too, but Glenn has really done a beautiful job. But here in the Boston area, I just don't know how it would translate on a podcast without visual. That's my um,
No, yeah, we need to like get out on the
yeah.
synthetic ice and figure, really
Yeah,
walk you
there's this
through it.
whole Twitch aspect to it and everything. My son's learned it. It's interesting. Anyways, it's very interesting, and the pros are using it. Bergeron's trained with him before too, in addition to two other guys. Speaking of third, fourth line guys, let's touch on the Bruins' third line from the game. Eric Haula line. They played a lot, and deservedly so. Haula played over 17 minutes. Jake DeBrusk played 16 and a half minutes. Curtis Lazard played 16 minutes. Curtis Lazard had 4 hits in the game. Jake DeBrusk had a shot, 2 other attempts, and Eric Haula had 3 shots on goal and was 4 for 6 in the faceoff circle. What made them so effective in this game? Because they were literally very effective from the opening shift when Bruce Cassidy gave them the start.
Speed, pace, no hesitation. We've talked about that. The
Mm-hmm.
word hesitation. They've been good all year, and it's most the Hall the Brust pair. I've talked about that. We talked about it all the way through the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
How good Hall has been for DeBrus to keep him going, get his pace going, get him in on the forecheck, and then Lazard does a great job. Lazar's really good, and he's a hockey guy. He
Mm-hmm.
gets how to fit into whoever he's playing with. I just find he's effective wherever he is, and even if he was on the top line, he wouldn't score. He wouldn't, but he just knows how to change shifts and create momentum within a shift. And that's a part. It's similar to what Foligno would do on that line if he was healthy. Uncle Nick
Mm-hmm.
would be playing the same way Lazar did tonight, I think.
But is Uncle Nick is Nick is fast?
I don't think Nick can get in on the forecheck the same way, but I think he can recognize how to create momentum and create space for those two guys and how to get them on their horses. So it will be interesting to see because I think Lazar is going to, we certainly saw it tonight. Cassidy tossed them a cookie. You got the cookie jar out today.
I did.
Cassidy tossed them a big cookie jar or a big cookie as a third
Mm-hmm.
line team, third line pairing. So really like their game. DeBrus selling out, blocking shots. Hall is snake bitten. He's going to score. He will, and when he does, he's going to get 3 or 4 within the week. I think he just needs to, they need to play more. Especially, they're not getting power play reps. They're not getting so some of
Mm-hmm.
these games, one game a week is just not enough for them to create offensively. But they're doing a good job keeping themselves within the season.
Yeah. For those, I'm assuming most of our listeners are good hockey people. Some of them might not know the term cookies or apples. Some might. I'm assuming most do. some might not. This was a game where actually everybody didn't get their cookies because Bergeron and Marchand had so
He
many
ate them
points
all.
there.
Yeah.
He
Usually
did.
this is a cookie night. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it
everybody
wasn't.
wants their cookies. What are the cookies? Cookies are basically you pick up your goals, your points. Apples are assists. I know that a friend of the show is our top shelf cookie friends, Razor. We've seen those before, those delicious cookies. So maybe they could provide some cookies. Maybe we could have the cookie of the game. Maybe
I
every
have
once in a
no
while.
problem. I have no problem pandering for cookies. There's
No,
some
I don't
things I
either.
won't pander for, but certainly I could go for a few of those chocolate chip cookies.
One of the most disappointing things in this world is when you have what is a good looking cookie and you take a bite of it and it stinks.
Then it's dust.
Oh, it's crunchy. I don't mind crunchy if they're thin, but not if they're like thicker and
No,
they're
when they look like they're soft and it's
no,
hard,
no,
oh, disaster. It
disastrous.
ruins your day.
It does.
It
It
does.
does. My cookies get good. It gets ruined by bad cookies. So TD Garden's cookies are not good. I
No,
got
they're
to tell you
not.
something. The food has been good this year. What
Oh,
we've got
those
going.
steak tips have been really good.
You did, yes. You ate. I don't know about half a cow tonight, but you went for them. You
I
went
didn't
for.
think you noticed. You had a salad or something.
I did. I did.
was soup.
The second time around, I had salad. The first time I had 2 steak tips. You were in impressive form for the steak tips, but they've been good. But I always like to finish the night, with a little bit of fruit and then a nice cookie. And I brought the cookie jar over because I thought it was appropriate that Bergeron got his cookies and other guys got their cookies too. But it wasn't like a big cookie night. But anyways, we need to get better cookies there. We do.
Mhm.
So maybe we'll just have a constant flow of our friends
Yeah.
over at Top Shelf or something. They are wonderful people. Support them, please. They've supported us. Let's not go negative per se, but let's talk about the concern level for David Pastrnak. Let's talk about it because on a night where guys on his line got their goals and on the power play, which is his forte, Pastrnak didn't. He missed a wide open net. You could see what was the old oh God. What were they called? Bubble videos, MTV? Didn't they used to put the pop-up video? Pop-up video, remember the bubbles would come, the thought things
Yeah.
would come
Yep.
out, Oh
Yep.
my God. If we had one of those come out of Pasternak's head after he missed that wide open net, everything would have been blacked out, X'd out, whatever, every word in the book. But I wasn't concerned about Bergeron. I can't tell you I'm not a little bit concerned about David right now with where he's at, because I wonder, Razor, confidence. I wonder where kind of that headspace is, etc. I do you agree with me or no?
No, I agree 1,000%. And for me, my issue right now is it's a long season. I would have rather, when he missed that open net in the second period, I would have loved to have seen him just smash his stick into 100 pieces on top of the crossbar, rather than the head turn. I can't believe that just happened. Expletives all over the place. I would just love to see him lose his mind, slam the bench, because I feel like he needs to generate some emotion somehow. I feel like you've talked about it. I've heard you talk about the pop, the happy pasta. It feels a little lethargic right now, and that's my concern. It's not the scoring. He's going to score. Even if he takes the entire season off, he's going to go 5 goals in 3 games at one, and just because he's so good and he shoots the puck so well and he's just such a good hockey player. My thing is that emotion level and ramping that up to enough for 60 minutes every couple nights a week, because we haven't seen it at all. And we talked about it last season, and we know about his off season. It's just, all right, I just want to see a little bit of it.
He did it. Look, listen, he had a traumatic off season that nobody should have to go through. Losing a child and a newborn, and it's nothing that you can even say is you can't wrap your head around it. At least I can't, except the emotion of it. With that said, I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if you bring up emotion, maybe that's effective. He is such a beacon of light, uh, and he's light. He's also lighthearted. I mean, you know what I mean? That's what he
Oh
is.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
just
He's a kid.
nothing. Right? He's a kid. Nothing bother. But Pasta's going to be a kid, I think, until he's 75 years old. That's what I just think he's about. Maybe he's just having a struggle with it right now. And by the way, maybe he doesn't even realize it, Razor.
No, I'm sure he doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't when you're in that and you're in the league and you're showing up every day and those things. I, I think I can't that do, he scored 50 goals. He goes down the wing and blasts it past Carey Price down the right wing
Mm-hmm.
at like
Mm-hmm.
50 miles an hour. It was the best goal he scored that entire season. I can't see how he replicates that right now. That's the jump that's the jump that I don't see.
Mm-hmm.
His ability to go 60 feet, 100 miles an hour, slap shot goal. He's not just, the empty net thing that we saw tonight, that just happens and
It happens.
whatever.
Right.
It's him creating it out of nowhere that we haven't seen it all this season yet. And that's where my concern level's going a little bit. I understand it's a long year. He's Olympics, the whole thing. He's got things, but I want to see it. I just want to see a couple shifts where you're like, oh man, that was awesome.
Yeah, I do too. I'm rooting for him. I am absolutely rooting for him. And I think it's pretty obvious that it will only continue to make this team or help make this team more effective. How's that for an obvious statement? This is a perfect time to re-welcome a good friend to the show, as we are so thrilled to partner up again with our buddies over at Spark Skate Sharpener. They're back on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, and you're going to hear from them starting right now, especially with the holiday season coming up. And the reason I love dealing with them is because they're local people, they're Massachusetts people producing them here. They have absolutely loaded up Razor on their product right now, the Spark Skate Sharpener, that is going to be, they're ready to ship pretty much same day if you send them an order. And this is a machine that will make your life significantly easier. Whether you have 1 or 5 people playing hockey in your house, this makes sharpening skates and getting them ready all the time hassle-free. 25 teams, actually more than 25 NHL teams right now are using Sparks technology. So if the pros can trust it, we can trust it. Razor and I both trust it as well. It is so convenient. You don't need to run out if all of a sudden you either lose an edge or you got a nick in one. Just throw it in there, give it 2 or 3, passes, and it is all done. Jake is almost there, ready on his own. He's 11 years old. I just don't know if I trust him with anything, quite honestly. But he's almost there, getting it done on his own. We've been using it.
He'll only mess them up once.
Right.
He'll only mess them up once. He'll figure it out. But no, it's not. It's an absolute no-brainer. It's a no-brainer for anyone that has kids playing hockey. We have one, and the 3 kids. Mace Man's at the point, he throws it on there. But just the fact that I don't have to jump in the car and drive anywhere. I mean, the price of gas at this point now, I'm saving money every single pass on that thing. So it's a great machine. And on top of that, you're not going to get a better skate sharpen anywhere else either. That's the beauty of it all.
You are so right. It's so clean. Good. It's sharp. You can change the wheel, get a bunch of different radius. We use 5/8 or 1/2, depending on who we're doing it for. So take a look at sparkshockey.com and make sure to use the code Morning Brew at checkout, and you will get free shipping. Morning Brew at checkout. Beat the holiday rush. Look into Sparks at sparkshockey.com. So the Sparks of the game, let's go back to a moment where first period, Detroit was hustling. They were busting ass. They were playing all right. They were physical at times, Razor, I thought, going for a while. And then Marchand had a hit in one corner, but we really thought, you and I thought, that it was the second line that came out there. Craig Smith was noticeable scooting down the right side. Coyle was involved, so was Taylor Hall. They had a great shift in offensive zone, I don't know, 30 seconds, maybe even a little bit more.
Mhm.
I think that changed the tenor of the game. So I'll give that the spark of the game. What do you think? You agree?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. I didn't know where you were going to go with it, but I like it. 11 minutes into the first, you talked about the first 9 minutes. The Bruins looked like a team that hadn't played for 4 days and hadn't played a lot of hockey. And that second line, who didn't play a lot tonight, came out with that spark. Came out and used Smitty used his getting it in the corner, the forecheck, Coyle using his body, Taylor Hall using his passing, his ability to get pucks to the net. They had a really nice shift. It was right at the 11:10 mark because I remember watching that forecheck happen, and they finally got the puck to the net and created an offensive faceoff. So good spark. That was when the game really turned over to the fact that the Bruins outshot them 37-15.
Yeah.
I mean, it was they got, but at that point it was probably only 3-1, 4-1. So
Yeah.
they smoked them after that.
Two players that I thought both had really nice games. If you had told me, though, that Mike Riley would end up with a goal and assist and Matt Grzelcyk would end up with nothing, I would have said, well, I think that would be reverse, given the way that Grizz played for, especially for early on. I thought he had his dancing shoes on, man. He was moving side to side, manipulating time and space, moving away from defenders. Grzelcyk ended up with just under 18 minutes. He had 6 total shots, 4 of them missed, but I thought he had a real nice game. Riley with 1 goal, 1 assist, and 5 shots on goal in the game. A game, I thought, for whatever reason, Mike Riley looked maybe his most comfortable, at least to my eyes. I thought he was really good against Dallas in game 1, but I thought he looked pretty good there tonight.
Yeah, looking back, I think one of the first 2 or 3 games back, or from when he got traded, he was really good. I loved his Detroit game, and then it didn't go great the last 3 or 4 games. I would say for him, he was tough to get. The giveaway in Philly, I remember in the neutral zone, he had a tough game in Philly. So it's really good for him to get on the board. I think he's the one defenseman. And maybe Grzelcyk, but I think Grzelcyk still has a lot of confidence in his game. But I think Riley's the one guy he's going to benefit from getting that goal, getting 1-1. He's going to really up his game. I think he gains confidence more than any of the other defensemen with points. And hopefully that's the case. Hopefully that gets him really comfortable in this lineup.
Pretty good win for Jeremy Swayman in the sense that he didn't have to do much. He did make a few nice saves, no question. The Raymond save was excellent because at that time it was a 2-1 at that time. Still
2-0.
2-0. Beg your pardon, 2-0. But I wouldn't say that he had his most strenuous game by any stretch.
No, it was easy, but it's a good win because he didn't lose 3 in a row. For me, that's it. It's as simple as that. He didn't lose 3 in a row. He found a way to stop the losing streak, the first losing streak that he was ever on in the NHL. And now you get to, as a goalie, you reset from that. You now, all right, I won my last game now. Now I can go out and play a little freer rather than worrying about, I'm sure he was nervous. I'm sure he was nervous, and he might not have talked about it, but you lost 2 in a row, and you don't want to lose 3 in a row. It starts to build up pretty quick at that league. So yeah, really nice job by him. Going into Toronto Saturday night, any lineup changes to keep it as is? I mean, there's not much they can do, but
no. If everybody's healthy, I don't think there's anything you do. I don't think you take out Connor Clifton, who was, he was okay. But you don't put Zaborlin, in my opinion, going into Toronto, especially if you want a little jam. Connor Clifton will give you a lot more than Zaboril in that regard. Nick Foligno, his upper body injury, he's close. He's going to start skating. I would guess by Thursday, 1 week from today, or 1 week from, as we record this, that he could be back. I don't think Tuesday, but that's just completely me guessing. He looks good. He's excited to get back. Ullmark, we know, is going to start. This is he's played in Toronto before, having been the goalie with the Buffalo Sabres, but he's It's not going to be the same as the competitiveness of the Bruins and the Maple Leafs. And, as you said, hockey night in Canada for the Bruins and Leafs. And this will be another good test. I think the Leafs team is nice. I don't look at them as a threat when it's all said and done, though. I look at them as a nice team that will score and put up some numbers, but they're having some issue with their D, and then their goaltending. I know that Jack Campbell's playing better, but I don't know. You can't tell me that Jack Campbell and Peter Mrazek are going to lead this team to the promised land.
No, not at all. It's amazing they're running with it. It's amazing that the way they've set up their team, and I mean they've got $40 million tied into those guys up front. And Nylander's been very good this year. Matthews hasn't scored the way he has. He's coming off a wrist injury, and but no, it's going to be fun because Boston, Toronto in Toronto, Hockey Night Canada after basically a year and a half, 2 years of not having it is a big deal. I'm sure all the Bruins fans in Canada and Toronto have saved up their money for this ticket because you do have to save up for these tickets.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And so there'll be lots of Bruins fans. To your point, it's another, Allmark's getting 2 Saturday night specials, top of the league at home. And then one of the big original 6 rivalries on the road. It's Toronto, Boston, Montreal, Boston, Saturday night hockey. That's as good as it gets.
Leafs are 11 games, 6-4-1 for 13 points. The Bruins 8 games, 5-3-0. So the 3 points behind the Leafs. However, they have 3 games in hand. We are not saying we are starting to look at the playoff race right now. I'm just telling you where they are.
We're not doing that. We did that last year at the 56 games. We did it every game where we cannot do it this year.
No. Leafs have won 4 games in a row. They have.
Yeah,
so they're
5-1 at home. They're 5-1 at home. So they're actually playing well at home. So
yeah. Bruins are 4-0 at home. So that's good. Real quick before we wrap things up here on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, quick thoughts on Jack Eichel getting traded finally, escaping Buffalo. I'm thinking that it's going to be a lot of fun for Jack Eichel when he gets over there. Not only is he going to be in a different city that you couldn't have more polar opposites than Buffalo and Las Vegas.
You really couldn't.
No, I mean, you want to talk about extreme makeover. Holy smokes. I mean, he has come out looking different. And the team now, you're talking, I mean, Vegas thinks of themselves as, a perennial contender. They weren't last year. It's funny. They should have beaten Montreal.
They should have smoked Montreal.
Right. But does that say something about what they are? But anyways, my thoughts are this. I think that Buffalo got some of what they wanted. They didn't have nearly as much leverage as they wanted because of the situation with his injury, his surgery, which he should be having very soon, within days, I'm hearing. But they still made out pretty well. They now have 3 first-round picks next year. They have 2 guys they picked this year in the first round, too, that should both be excellent players. But those are just prospects. The top player in the deal, if he's healthy, still ends up going to Vegas.
Yeah, there's no question about that. It works for everybody. And to that point, I'll say I'm going to criticize Buffalo a little bit in this. If they had have let this guy got the surgery that he wanted to do, no matter what their opinion was, I think you have to see it as an organization and look at it. Is he going to take a bad surgery? Is he going to do something that he is going to, a young guy, going to ruin his career? Had he done this surgery 5 months ago, had they let him do this surgery a year ago, how much more would they have gotten for him? And it's completely hindsight. It's completely hypothetical, but that's my one thing that comes out of this is because exactly to your point, they didn't get as much as they would have gotten had Jack Eichel been healthy right now. And had they let him do this surgery 8 months ago, he could have been healthy right now and allowed them to get traded. He'd still be unhappy. And there's a whole attitude. There's a whole other side of this that on the Jack Eichel negative side. But that's the one caveat that I've had that, if they had just had Vegas is letting him is having no questions, whatever he wants to do tomorrow.
Mhm.
Why didn't Buffalo have that same attitude? And that's going to be interesting to see how this surgery plays out, because that adds another element to it.
Well, Vegas is the gambling capital of the world, although I think Monaco would argue that a little bit, but you know what I mean. They're gambling on this.
I
Kelly
know.
McCrimmon
There.
is taking a little bit of a gamble on it, rolling the dice. Whatever pun or analogy I can come up with, but they're feeling. Look, they're feeling this. We've needed centers. We have needed centers, and we need to figure out a way to do something. And this is now they get one of the best centers if he's healthy.
If he comes back and can pass the puck to Stone and Pacioretty or whoever they're going to play him with, I mean, that's a tough stop.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see. I hope that he has successful surgery. We need to get him back in the league. I think he's going to have a lot of fun out in Vegas, but hopefully it's hopefully he's
Good
able
fun.
to. Good fun. Yeah. Hopefully he's able to. That means that he gets himself healthy and back in it. All right. That's going to wrap up this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Again, thanks to Sparks, and the Spark Sharpeners are coming back on board. As I said, you're going to hear from them come in the coming months as they get ready to ship out a ton of product at holiday time. The Boston Bruins win 5-1 over the Detroit Red Wings. The Bruins will go on the road Friday afternoon, head up to Canada, and get set to take on the Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday night. Razor and I will have another Morning Brew after that game, so listen in or take a look for that one. It'll be in your podcast file after as well. So enjoy it. Everybody have a wonderful Friday. Enjoy the fact that your Bruins won, that Patrice Bergeron scored, that Brad Marchand had 4 assists, the power play got going. What else? Mike Riley got his first goal. Jeremy Swayman back in the win column.
Nothing but good things.
All good stuff. And you know what? Find a great cup of coffee, and as always, enjoy it.